This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to another Quarantine Theater Company reading. This time, this is a movie that I'm surprised we haven't done yet. It's one of my favorites as a kid. I was obsessed with this movie. It is, of course, the awesomely hilarious, sometimes awkward Napoleon Dynamite. I am Curtis. I'm going to be the host, and here are my casts that are just going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Eric. I will be action description and Pedro.
I'm Curtis. I'm going to be playing the part of Napoleon.
I'm Logan. I'm going to be Kip.
I'm John. I'm going to be Uncle Rico.
I'm Jessica. I'm going to be Deb.
I'm Jessica M. I'm going to be Grandma and Trisha.
I'm going to be Cholo number 1. And my name's Rudy.
All right. Eric, take us away.
Napoleon Dynamite by Jared Hess and Jerusha Hess. Exterior, Napoleon's house. Morning. Napoleon, a high school teenager, stands in front of his small farmhouse waiting for the school bus. He has curly, poofy hair with, oh my God, with bedhead, generic glasses, early 90s moon boots, and a t-shirt with an Idaho wildlife scene printed on it. He opens his trapper keeper to reveal an action figure attached to some fishing line. A school bus screeches to a halt in front of him. He closes the trapper keeper. Amazing, Curtis. Interior school bus morning. The bus door opens. Napoleon gets on and goes to the very back. He sits down next to Vern, a kindergartner fox, eating a hash brown.
What are you going to do today, Napoleon?
What do I feel like I want to do? Gosh.
Napoleon opens the window next to him and takes out his action figure. He looks ahead to make sure the bus driver isn't watching. He wraps more fishing line around the action figure and then chucks it out the window. Exterior school bus morning. The action figure is being dragged behind the bus. Interior school bus morning. Napoleon watches the action figure. He makes a fist and jerks it down. Yes. Exterior school bus morning. The action figure is still being dragged. Interior high school classroom day. Napoleon sits at his desk, drawing a picture of a warrior holding a battle axe. A girl is reading a current event.
The United Nations will continue its relief efforts to hurricane victims in Rotoan.
The girl sits down behind Napoleon.
Napoleon, your current event?
Napoleon pulls out a tabloid article with a picture of the Loch Ness Monster on it. He walks to the front of the class.
Last week, Japanese scientists placed explosive detonators at the bottom of the lake Loch Ness to blow Nessie out of the water.
Bull crap, Napoleon.
Napoleon stops reading. Beat.
Sir Court Godfrey of the Nessie Alliance summoned the help of Scotland's local wizards to cast a protective spell, so...
Oh, yeah, right.
Randy, why don't you go find your grandma or something? You're bugging the heck out of me, gosh.
Interior high school hallway day. Randy holds Napoleon in a headlock in front of his locker. They struggle. Interior high school locker room day. Napoleon sits apart from a group of jocks, all dressed in PE clothes. Napoleon puts his moon boots on.
Hey, Napoleon. What did you do all summer again?
I told you. Spending my uncle in Alaska, hunting wolverines.
Did you shoot any?
Yes, like 50 of them. They kept trying to attack my cousins. What the heck would you do in a situation like that?
What kind of gun did you use?
A freaking 12 gauge. What do you think?
Exterior high school basketball court day. A group of boys play basketball. A group of girls play jump rope. Napoleon plays tetherball by himself. Interior high school office day. Napoleon walks to a desk in an office. A secretary sits typing.
Hey, can I use your guy's phone for a sec?
Who do you need to call?
My grandma?
Is there anything wrong?
I don't feel very good.
The secretary holds the phone over the desk. Napoleon grabs the phone, dials, and turns around, shielding himself from the secretary. Interior Napoleon's living room day. A phone rings on the kitchen counter. Beat. Kip, a small, thin man in his late 20s, wearing big glasses, a polo buttoned to the top, tapered jeans, a clean out mustache, and a conservative part in his hair. Holds a brick of cheddar. He shreds it over a plate of chips. Kip answers the phone.
Hello?
Is Grandma there?
No, she's getting her hair done.
Ah,
What do you need?
can you just go get her for me?
I'm busy right now.
There's her to come get me,
Why?
because I don't feel good.
Do you talk to the school nurse?
No, she doesn't know anything.
Beat. Interior high school office day.
Will you just come get me?
No.
Find it, bye. Idiot.
Napoleon hangs up the phone. Interior Napoleon's living room day. Beat. The phone rings as Kip pulls nachos out of the microwave and sets them on the table. Kip answers.
Hello?
Kid, spawn your blaze and come get me.
Sorry.
Well, will you do me a favor then?
What?
Can you bring me my chapstick?
No, Napoleon.
My lips hurt real bad.
Borrow some from the school nurse.
I'm not gonna use hers, you sicko.
See ya.
Kip hangs up. Interior high school office day.
Idiot.
The principal, a balding man in his 60s, stands with Pedro, a short and stocky Latino teenager with a mustache, cowboy boots, and cowboy snap shirt. The principal points down the hallway.
The cafeteria is at the end of E Hall.
Napoleon approaches them and stops.
Hey, is that a new kid or something?
Napoleon, this is Pedro. Would you mind showing him where his locker is?
He hands Napoleon a small paper.
Sure.
Napoleon tries to open a locker. Pedro stands next to him. He speaks with a Mexican accent.
Yeah, there's like a buttload of gangs at this school. This one gang kept wanting me to join because I'm pretty good with bow staff.
Napoleon opens the locker. He turns to Pedro.
Do you ride the bus to school?
No, I ride my bike.
What kind of bike do you have?
Exterior bike rack day. Napoleon and Pedro stand next to the high school's bike rack. A black mountain bike with orange handlebars stands between them. It's a Huffy sledgehammer.
Dang, you got shocks, pegs.
My cousin gave it to me.
You ever taken off any sweet jumps?
God. Exterior Pedro's house day. A jump made from a couple of bricks and particle board lays on a sidewalk in front of a small house. Napoleon stands to the side of it. Pedro rides his bike off the jump. Napoleon holds his hand a distance from the ground.
You got like 3 feet of air that time.
Pedro walks his bike over next to Napoleon.
Could I try it real quick?
Sure. Napoleon takes the bike and rides it onto the jump. The board breaks in half and Napoleon rams the bike into the bricks. Napoleon's crotch smashes into the crossbar.
Ow. Oh, my back.
Interior Napoleon's kitchen afternoon, an early 1970s style living area. Kip sits at the computer in the living room. Napoleon stands behind the counter and drinks a glass of Kool-Aid. Grandma, a butch, round, mulleted woman wearing chums on her glasses, walks in. She clears her throat.
How was school?
Worst day of my life. What do you think?
Well, I want you to go and see if Tina wants some of this.
She sets a casserole tray on the table.
Ah, Kip hasn't done the flipping anything today.
Look, tonight me and
She notices Kip on the computer, not paying any attention.
Kip, listen.
Fine, he turns and faces her.
What?
Tonight, me and your Aunt Caroline are going to visit some friends, and we're not going to be back till tomorrow. We're getting a little low on steak, so I've got Lyle coming over tomorrow to take care of it.
What was there to eat?
Oh, knock it off, Napoleon. Make yourself a dang quesadilla.
Fine.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Grandma pulls out her keys and leaves. Napoleon glares at Kip.
Stay home and eat all the freaking chips.
Don't be mad because I've been online chatting with babes all day. Besides, I'm training for some cage fighter.
Since when, Kip? You have one of the worst reflexes of all time.
Try and hit me, Napoleon.
What?
Kip stands up.
Try to hit me. Come on.
Napoleon stands up. Kip starts poking and pushing at Napoleon.
Such an idiot.
Napoleon swings at Kip. He blocks it. The doorbell rings. Napoleon relaxes his stance.
I'll get it.
Napoleon quickly slaps Kip in the face. Napoleon leaves. Exterior Napoleon's house, afternoon. Deb, a short, plain girl with big hair, wearing a homemade pink shirt with fake rubies glued to it, stands at the front door with several caboodles and a fire in hand. Napoleon opens the door. Deb looks at her feet.
Hello. Would you like to look like this?
She hands him a sample glamour shot photo of a young woman wearing a denim jacket with collars flipped up and frizzed out hair. She is cross-eyed and not really in that picture, looking over her shoulder.
Because right now, for a limited time, glamour shots by Deb are 75% off.
I already get my hair cut at the Cut and Corral.
Well, maybe would you be interested in some handicrafts?
Interior Napoleon's living room, afternoon. Kip is watching TV. A poorly produced commercial for Rex Kwon Do self-defense comes on. Rex, a pasty man with a gut, wearing hammer pants and amber gradient glasses, stands in front of a dojo.
I'm Rex, founder of the Rex Kwon Do self-defense system. After 1 week training with me in my dojo, you'll be prepared to protect yourself with the strength of a grizzly.
A shot of Rex getting kicked fiercely in the groin.
The reflexes of a puma.
Shot of Rex slapping a gun out of a hand.
And the wisdom of a man.
Shot of Rex putting an older woman in a headlock. God damn. Rex is standing in front of the dojo again.
Come in today for your free trial lesson.
The address appears. Kip writes it down. Exterior Napoleon's house, afternoon. Deb is still showing Napoleon her homemade crafts.
And here we have some boondoggle keychains, a must-have for the season's fashion.
I already made an infinity of those at scout camp.
Deb looks at the ground.
Well, is anyone else here? I'm trying to earn money for college.
Interior Napoleon's living room, afternoon. Kip is facing the TV but turns his head toward the front door.
Your mom goes to college.
Exterior Napoleon's house, afternoon. Deb looks past Napoleon, reacting to Kip. She begins to shake as if to cry. She looks up at Napoleon, puts her hand over her mouth, and runs away, leaving her caboodles behind. Napoleon stands confused. He closes the door. Exterior Napoleon's backyard, afternoon. Napoleon stands looking into a fenced yard.
You fat lard, give some dinner.
A mangy-looking llama prances over toward Napoleon. Napoleon is disgusted, but hand feeds the casserole to her. Exterior Napoleon's house, afternoon. Kip sits on the front steps of the house, putting on his rollerblades. He wears sleeveless t-shirt and a pair of sweatpants. Napoleon approaches him and stops with a casserole dish in hand. Kip looks up and notices him as he lashes his blades.
I need you to pull me into town.
Napoleon scowls. Exterior neighborhood street, afternoon. Napoleon is riding a girl's 10-speed bike. Kip is on his rollerblades being pulled with a rope. Interior, Rex's dojo, afternoon. Rex, the same self-defense instructor, wearing USA hammer pants and the same amber glasses, stands in front of the class. He sounds like a pro wrestler.
I don't care what they say. If I'm gonna attack a young, pretty woman, a little freaking pepper spray and a kick to my groin isn't gonna do anything. My name is Rex, and if you sign up for my 8-week program, you will learn the self-defense system I developed after fighting for 2 seasons in the octagon. It's called Rex Kwon Me. People ask themselves, what about judo? What about kung fu? Well, I'm gonna show you right now that those 2 systems don't get jack on Rex Kwon. I need a volunteer.
Napoleon and Kip are standing in the class. Kip raises his hand.
All right, you get up here, Baodio Sensei.
Kip stands, walks up to Rex, and bows.
Now grab my arm. Other arm. Now watch. Is what you're gonna do is break the wrist and walk away? Break the wrist and walk away?
Rex does a bunk move and jerks his arm loose.
It's just that simple. Now try to kick me.
Kip hesitates.
Come on, kick me.
Kip kicks softly. Rex blocks it with his shin.
Do it again.
Kip kicks. Rex blocks.
Do it again.
Kip kicks. Rex blocks.
Do it again.
Kip kicks. Rex blocks. Rex turns to the class.
You'll block it every time. Have a seat.
Kip sits down by Napoleon.
Now, on top of what you just saw, here is a small sample of the things you will learn if you sign up for my 8-week program. First off, in Rex Kwon, we use the buddy system. No more flying solo. What you gonna do when you get jumped because you're wearing a pair of blue British Knights on someone else's turf?
Napoleon raises eyebrows in agreement.
You need someone watching your back at all times because jiu-jitsu don't work in gangbang. Second off, my pupils will learn to discipline their image. Do you think I got where I am today because I dressed like Peter Pan over here?
He points to Napoleon. Napoleon shamefully turns his head to see if anyone else is looking at him.
Hell no! Do you people see what I'm wearing? Do you think someone wants to get a roundhouse kick in the face while I'm wearing these bad boys?
He grabs the sides of his hammer pants. Napoleon shakes his head in agreement.
Forget about it. And last off, you'll learn to get self-respect. You think anyone thinks I'm a failure because I got Star LA to go home to at night?
Rex points to a picture of Starla on the wall. She is a tough bodybuilder, American gladiator-looking woman with a muscular neck, super tan skin, and big bleached hair. She also sports a forced smile.
Forget about it. Now, for only $300, I can sign you up right now for my full 8-week program.
Exterior, neighborhood street, evening. Napoleon rides a girl's 10-speed. Kip is being tugged with a rope on his rollerblades.
Well, that place was a ripoff.
Exterior, Napoleon's house, morning. Napoleon walks out of his house to wait for the bus. He wears a t-shirt tucked into a pair of hammer pants similar to Rex's. He also is carrying Deb's caboodles. He stops and looks across the road. Lyle, a farmer, stands facing a cow, in the field. Napoleon raises his hand to wave.
Hey, Lyle.
Lyle slowly waves back. Napoleon looks on. Lyle pulls a 6-shooter pistol out from his jacket and points it at a cow. He clicks back the hammer. Napoleon looks on. A school bus screeches to a halt in front of Lyle and the cow, blocking Napoleon's view. A bang is heard. Napoleon flinches. Interior, school bus, morning. All the kids scream. Interior, high school classroom day. Got that scene. A finger presses play on a cassette player. Soft rock music begins to play. 2 teenage girls perform sign language in sync to the music. This is the Happy Hands Club. 2 other girls perform sign language to the music also. Napoleon and a girl stand performing sign language together. He does a two-fist splash, which turns into a butterfly that flaps its wings high above his head. A classroom of unimpressed students sit at their desk and watch. Napoleon really gets into it. Don watches from his desk. Napoleon does more sign language. Interior high school locker room day. 2 moon boots sit on a bench. Napoleon, suited up in gym clothes, reaches for them and begins to put them on. Don and 2 jocks sit across from him.
Hey, Napoleon, I hear you're in a club for girls.
Shut up, I'm not.
Then why are you in the Happy Hands Club?
Because I didn't have a freaking choice. All our sweet clubs already filled up. Gosh.
The 3 boys laugh to themselves and then leave. Napoleon scowls.
Idiots.
He sees Pedro dressed in gym clothes as he closes his locker. Exterior high school track day. A group of gym students warm up at a track. Napoleon and Pedro sit on some bleachers. Both wear gym clothes.
So, me and you are pretty much friends by now, right?
Yes.
So you got my back and everything?
What?
Never mind.
Beat.
Have you heard about the dance?
Yeah.
So have you met anyone to ask yet?
No. But I probably will after school.
Who are you gonna ask?
Pedro gazes out into the field. That girl over there. He points to Summer, a cute blonde who stands by some friends in the middle of a track. She puts her hair in a scrunchie.
Summer Wheatley? How the heck are you gonna do that?
Build her a cake or something.
Yeah. My little golfer from Oklahoma was gonna fly out here for the dance, but she couldn't because she's doing some modeling right now.
Is she hot? Napoleon pulls out his Velcro wallet and takes out the trial glamour shot photo.
See for yourself.
Pedro takes the picture. The girl has big hair, a denim jacket with collars flipped up, and is cross-eyed. Wow.
Yeah, I took her to the mall to get some glamour shots for her birthday one year.
I like her bangs.
Me too.
Interior high school cafeteria day. Pedro and Napoleon eat their hot lunches silently.
How long did it take you to grow that mustache?
Couple of days.
Wish I could grow one.
Napoleon quickly takes a bite of a tater tot and looks at Pedro's tray of tater tots.
You can eat your tots?
No.
Can I have them? Yes.
Napoleon reaches over and grabs all in one handful. With the other hand, he unzips a zipper pocket on his pant leg. He quickly glances at Pedro and then stuffs the tater tots into the leg pocket and zips it up. He looks up and notices Deb. She sits down at a nearby table and opens her sack lunch.
See that girl over there? She came over to my house the other night.
Deb takes a bite of her sandwich. Why?
I don't know, but she left all this crap on my porch.
She's really good looking.
Do you dare me to go talk to her?
Sure. Napoleon walks over and sits across from Deb. Oh, God. They look at each other. She sips her milk.
So you're drinking 1%. Is that because you think you're fat?
Deb freezes.
Because you're not. You could be drinking whole if you wanted.
Deb looks down at her sandwich.
Well, I have all your equipment in my locker. Should probably come get it because I can't fit my nunchucks in there anymore.
A piece of bread and peanut butter is stuck to her upper lip. Her voice is muffled with bread.
Where's your locker?
Interior high school hallway day. Napoleon and Deb stand at his locker. He yanks the caboodles out. She carefully bungees them to her suitcase roller.
Hey, could I have one of your keychains?
Deb hands him one and walks off. Napoleon clips the boondoggle keychain onto his belt loop. Napoleon watches her leave. Exterior sand dunes day. An ATV speeds across a sand dune. Angle on Grandma as she rides the ATV full of excitement. She drives past her sister Caroline, 65, who sits on the tailgate of a blue truck. Two younger men wearing crop tops and sunglasses stand next to Caroline. They cheer Grandma on as she passes. Grandma continues riding excitedly. She suddenly hits a bump, catches some air, and is thrown from the ATV. She bounces hard across the sand, and the ATV tips over. Caroline and the other two men stare blankly at the accident. Exterior, Airstream Day. Uncle Rico, 40, with the David Hasselhoff style hair, glasses, a gold chain, a tight mock turtleneck shirt, and ankle boots, stands outside his Airstream throwing footballs at a video camera on a tripod. The phone rings from the inside. He stops and walks inside the Airstream. Interior, high school classroom day. Napoleon sits at his desk reading a book on Bigfoot. Beat. He slowly lowers the book. His head reaches down to his bulging pant leg pocket. He grabs the zipper and slowly starts to unzip it. His eyes slowly glance around to see if anyone notices. He pulls out a tater tot. A couple fall out onto the ground. Randy, with a book in hand, notices. Napoleon slowly brings one to his mouth and munches it. The crunch is very audible.
Give me one of your tater tots, Napoleon.
Oh, go find your own.
Come on, give me some of your tots.
No, I'm freaking starved. Didn't even get to eat anything today.
And he scowls at him and kicks Napoleon's tot pocket from across the aisle. His pocket oozes with grease and potato. Ugh. Napoleon glares at Randy. Gross. Interior, Napoleon's kitchen day. A note on the fridge reads, Napoleon, don't forget to feed Tina. Love, Grandma. Napoleon stands staring at it.
Gosh.
Exterior, Napoleon's backyard, afternoon. Napoleon walks out of a sliding glass door. He holds a casserole dish and walks toward the fence.
Tina, can get some ham.
Napoleon stands and watches a car approach from down the dirt road. Exterior, Napoleon's house, afternoon. A tattered Buick stops in front of the house. Loud new age music is blasting. Uncle Rico steps out and stretches. Napoleon walks over to him. Uncle Rico speaks with a backcountry semi-southern accent.
What are you doing here, Uncle Rico?
Grandma took a little spill at the sand dunes today. Broke her coccyx.
What? Since when did she go to the dunes?
Looks like there's a lot you don't know about.
Uncle Rico pulls a briefcase out of the car and walks past Napoleon toward the house. Napoleon stands motionless, holding the casserole. Interior, Napoleon's kitchen, afternoon. A greasy piece of steak being cut with a knife and fork. Uncle Rico is standing behind the counter. He raises a piece of meat to his mouth and begins to chew it. He washes it down with a large glass mug of whole milk. Napoleon and Kip are sitting at the kitchen table quietly, watching Uncle Rico. Uncle Rico chews on more steak. Beep.
So when's Grandma coming back?
Not sure.
You don't have to stay with us. We're not babies.
Talk to your Aunt Caroline.
Uncle Rico takes a sip of milk.
Well, Kip is like 32 years old.
I don't mind if you stay.
Thanks, Kip.
Kip nods back at Uncle Rico. Napoleon notices.
Gosh, what was Grandma doing at the sand dunes?
She was on a date with a boyfriend.
Boyfriend?
You guys want to see my video?
I do.
Kip gets up and leaves to the living room.
Gracious.
Interior, Napoleon's living room, afternoon. A VHS tape is shoved into the VCR. Uncle Rico sits down in a chair next to Napoleon and Kip, who are on a couch. Uncle Rico holds the remote and hits play. The TV screen shows Uncle Rico throwing some footballs at the camera that's filming him. Napoleon, Kip, and Uncle Rico watch intently. The TV screen shows Uncle Rico pick up the balls under the camera, sprint back to his first position, and start throwing again.
What do you think?
Pretty cool, I guess.
Napoleon glares at Kip.
Wish I could go back in time. I'd take state.
Uncle Rico watches the screen.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
Like anyone can know that one.
You can leave, Napoleon.
You guys are idiots.
Napoleon gets up and leaves. Interior, burger joint, evening. Uncle Rico and Kip sit at a booth eating milkshakes.
Napoleon's been getting on my nerves lately.
Uncle Rico spoons some shake into his mouth.
Are you and Tammy still together?
Uncle Rico looks away.
Not really.
Beep.
Why is that?
She got jealous, said I was still living in 82. How about your girlfriend?
Well, it's getting a little bit serious right now. We talk online for at least 2 hours a day, but it's going pretty good. Like right now, I'm trying to raise some money so I can fly her out for a couple days.
Kip spoons some shake into his mouth.
What does she look like?
She's blonde. She has a pretty good looking face. But I'm gonna kind of TO'd because I haven't gotten a full body shot yet.
Well, I've got a little project I can pay for.
Takes a drink of some shake.
Really? That sounds good.
Exterior, Summer's house, afternoon. A big, nice house. Pedro and Napoleon lay on their stomachs, peering through some vegetation.
Go for it.
Pedro stands up, holding a cake. He runs across the street to the house. Napoleon looks on. Pedro steps up to the porch and slowly sets the cake down in front of the door. He rings the doorbell and then runs. Napoleon waits on his bike. Pedro stands on the pegs and they ride off. Exterior, Napoleon's house, afternoon. Kip and Uncle Rico sit on the front steps. Each are holding a paper plate with a couple of sticks on them.
Back in 82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Napoleon and Pedro ride up on the bike.
Watch this.
Uncle Rico grabs Kip's uneaten steak and hurls it at Napoleon and Pedro. It hits Napoleon in the hair.
What are you doing?
Uncle Rico throws his arms in the air as if to say, bring it on. I better go. Pedro rides off quickly. Napoleon rubs his hair and walks away.
That's what I'm talking about.
Uncle Rico sits back down next to Kip.
How much you want to bet I can throw a football over the mountains? If Coach would have put me in the fourth quarter, would have been state champions. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. You better believe things would have been different now. Would have gone pro in a heartbeat. I'd be making millions, living in a mansion somewhere, soaking it up in a hot tub with my soulmate.
Pete. Uncle Rico looks over at Kip.
Kip, I reckon you're pretty good in cyberspace. Ever come across anything like time travel?
Easy. I've already looked into it for myself.
Right on.
Exterior, high school basketball court day. Napoleon stands by a tetherball ball pole. Wow. He holds the rope and looks around the area for Pedro. People play basketball and some girls jump rope. Napoleon takes a step back and throws the tetherball. It swings back around and he punches it repeatedly. He stops, grabs the rope, and looks around again. Summer holds a jump rope and talks with friends. She looks at Napoleon. Napoleon smiles. He takes a step back and throws the ball as hard as he can. It swings back around and Napoleon jumps and it hits it with his knee. Napoleon stops and looks to see if Summer was watching. Summer smiles at Napoleon. She mouths something to her friends, puts down a jump rope, and runs over to Napoleon. Napoleon grins.
Is Pedro here today?
I don't think so. Why?
Just wondering. Can you give him this for me?
She hands Napoleon a note. She turns to leave.
Hey, Summer,
She turns back around.
want to play me?
Napoleon holds up the tether ball. Summer shakes her head slowly and then runs back to her friends. Napoleon watches. He opens the note. It reads, "No." Interior, high school hallway day. It's passing period. Napoleon stands alone by his locker. He is wearing the same hammer pants again, but a different t-shirt. He looks around for Pedro. Randy walks by and shoves Napoleon into a locker. Randy leaves. Napoleon does a delayed kick to the air in Randy's direction. Interior, high school cafeteria day. Napoleon eats a bowl of chili by himself. Deb sees him from another table. Exterior, high school steps day. Napoleon sits on some steps in front of the school. He draws a picture of a liger. Deb walks out of the school and stands behind him.
What are you drawing?
A liger.
Napoleon signs his name and writes the date. Deb sits down on the steps 3 feet from him.
What's a liger?
It's pretty much my favorite animal. It's like a lion and a tiger mix, but for its skills and magic.
Huh. Where's your friend?
I don't know. Did you see him today?
No.
Neither did I.
Do you need a ride?
No, I missed the bus, but my uncle's coming to get me.
Oh,
Uncle Rico pulls over next to the curb and honks. New age music blares from the car radio. Napoleon looks up.
See ya.
Napoleon quickly gets up, runs to the car, and gets in. Deb looks on. Interior, Napoleon's house day. Napoleon grabs the telephone off the wall. It has a 50-foot phone cord attached to it. He stops, looks at Kip and Uncle Rico, walks out of the kitchen, around a corner, through the hall, and into his backyard, stretching the phone cord the whole way. Exterior, Napoleon's backyard day. Napoleon closes the door, dials a number, and then puts the phone to his ear. Interior, Pedro's house day. A phone rings. Pedro's sister, Karina, answers his phone.
bueno.
Hello?
Who's this?
Napoleon Dynamite?
Who?
Napoleon Dynamite. I'm one of Pedro's best friends.
Your last name is Dynamite?
Yeah, is Pedro there?
What kind of name is that? No, he's not here right now.
Okay, bye.
Napoleon quickly presses the receiver. Interior, Napoleon's kitchen day. Napoleon walks into the kitchen with the phone. He stops. Uncle Rico and Kip are sitting at the kitchen table. Uncle Rico's holding a pen above a notepad. They both turn and glare at Napoleon. Feet.
What?
Uncle Rico turns to Kip.
Oh, why don't we take this somewhere a little more private?
Good idea.
Napoleon looks at them. Uncle Rico and Kip stand up and leave. Interior, bowling alley day. A bowling ball bounces off the bumper bowling rails as it makes its way to the pins. A large amount of pins get knocked down. Kip stands at the head of the lane. Uncle Rico can be seen sitting down behind him at the score table. Kip takes a seat next to Uncle Rico.
Now, before we get started on our little project, I have a few concerns. First off, I'm a little concerned about your transportation situation. I mean, do you got a car you can borrow from somebody?
Well, that's the problem right now. At the moment, nothing comes to mind.
Uncle Rico sighs.
You can borrow my car for the time being. I do better on foot anyway, okay? I also need to find a way to make us look official, like we have all the answers.
How about some gold bracelets?
Beat.
We need like some name tags with our pictures on them, all laminated and whatnot. Maybe got to look legit.
That's true.
Is there some place around here that we can get our picture taken? Like some kind of studio or something?
Beat. Interior, Deb's studio afternoon. Deb stands in her studio with a camera. A rack of denim jackets and colorful prom gowns is behind her.
Turn your head on more of a slant.
Uncle Rico sits on a bar stool. He wears a denim jacket with the collars flipped up. A pink backdrop with stars is draped behind him. Uncle Rico turns his head.
Perfect. Now make a fist and slowly ease it underneath your chin.
Uncle Rico makes the fist and slowly places it underneath his chin.
This is looking really good.
You can say that again.
Okay, hold still. Just imagine that you're weightless. You're in the ocean and you're surrounded by tiny little seahorses.
Uncle Rico softly squints his eyes and cracks a slight smile. Deb snaps a picture.
That was the one. That's going to come out really nice.
Uncle Rico relaxes.
Yeah, it felt pretty good. I'm really relaxed. Thanks, Deb. You're up, Kip.
Is there some kind of vest I can wear?
Interior high school cafeteria day. Pedro sits at a table eating lunch by himself. Beat. Napoleon walks in and sits down next to him with his lunch.
Where have you been?
I got sick
How come?
2 days ago. I went to my cousin's birthday party. In exterior park day, Pedro stands looking at a picnic table full of Mexican food. He holds a paper plate under his mouth as he chomps on a taco full of carne asada. And they had all this food, so I started to eat this taco with lots of meat. Pedro darts his eyes around and wrinkles his brow. It was like a carne asada taco, and all of a sudden I started to feel really evil inside and kind of sad, you know. Interior, Pedro's bathroom day. Pedro lays in a bubble bath, motionless. He blinks twice. So the next day, I just like laid in the bathtub for a couple of hours. Interior hospital waiting room day. Pedro sits in the lobby next to two older Mexican women. And then I had to go to the hospital because Matt was having a baby. Pedro pulls a bag of chips out from a vending machine. We had to wait a really long time in the lobby, so I bought a little bag of corn tortillas from the vending machine. Pedro eats some chips. He stops, looks at his body, and then curiously examines a chip. And right when I started eating them, I felt really good inside. The weird feeling I was having just like lifted out of me. It like evaporated or something. Interior, high school cafeteria day. Pedro holds his milk. So I don't know. I think there was like some holy chips or something. Napoleon stares at Pedro, his mouth slightly open and a napkin stuffed in the neck of his shirt.
Has Summer said anything to you yet?
No, not yet.
Well, she said no.
She did? Pedro looks at his food. Well, what about that other girl?
What other girl?
The one that left all the crap on your porch.
You mean Deb?
Yeah, her.
What about her?
Well, I asked her out too.
What?
Pedro notices Deb approaching, looks down at his food. Napoleon looks over his shoulder to see if he can see Deb. Deb approaches the table with her sack lunch and note in hand. Napoleon turns around and starts eating. Pedro shoves food around with a spoon. His other hand rests on the table. Deb's hand slides into frame and puts a note underneath his hand. Pedro's eyes dart over at the note and then up at Deb. She winks at him and then leaves. Napoleon glares at Pedro. Interior high school hallway day. Pedro unfolds the note. It reads, "Yes." Pedro and Napoleon hover over the note. They stand in front of some lockers. Pedro folds the note back up and puts it in his pocket.
Well, nobody's gonna go out with me.
Have you asked anybody out yet?
No. Who would? I don't have any good skills.
What do you mean?
You know, like nunchuck skills, hunting skills, beer hacking skills. Girls only want boyfriends that have great skills.
Aren't you pretty good at drawing like animals and warriors and stuff?
Yeah, it's probably the best that I know of.
Just draw a picture of the girl you want to ask out, and then give it to her with like a gift or something.
It's a pretty good idea.
Interior Napoleon's house day. A yearbook full of student pictures. Napoleon puts his finger under the name Trisha Stevens and then moves his finger across the page until he arrives at her photo. Napoleon smiles. He has a white piece of paper and a pencil. He begins to draw her face. Interior couples living room day. Uncle Rico sits at a table with Lance and Shoni, a young couple. Uncle Rico wears a short sleeve shirt, tie, and name tag with his glamour shot on it. An array of Tupperware rests on the table.
Now, if you guys decide to invest in the 24-piece set, I'm going to throw in a gift.
Well, what's the gift?
Uncle Rico raises his eyebrows, reaches under the table, and pulls out a decorative mini sailboat. He sets it on the table.
Bet you folks don't have one of these now, do you?
Shoni looks at Lance.
Want that?
Okay, then. Now, this ain't your run-of-the-mill crapperware, guys. These are some serious Newpont fiber woven bowls.
So if we buy the 24 set, the mini sailboat is included?
That is correct, sir. Now, my buddies down at NASA use these same Newpont microfibers to make helmets and special towels for the space shuttle, okay?
Rico looks at Lance.
Lance, you look like a strong young pup.
Uncle Rico hands him a bowl.
Try and tear this bowl.
Lance tries to rip it in half. Uncle Rico and Shoney watch. He gives up and hands it back.
You guys see what I mean?
God, here it comes. Interior coffee store day. Napoleon stands at the cashier counter. A worker wearing an apron stands on the other side.
Can you guys laminate this for me?
Napoleon hands him his picture of Trisha. The worker looks at it. We don't see the picture yet. Exterior neighborhood street day. A Tupperware bowl is shoved under a car tire. Kip walks around the car and gets in. A Latino woman stands on her lawn watching him. Kip turns on the car and backs up over the bowl. The woman watches intently. The smashed bowl resumes its original form. Oh, man. Its original form? Kip opens the door and stands up out of the car. It's weird.
Pretty cool.
Damn it. Exterior Trisha's house day. A nice house. Napoleon walks up to the door with a paper bag in hand. Napoleon knocks on the door. Interior Trisha's living room day. Knock at the door. Uncle Rico and Eileen. Trisha's mother sit on opposing couches. Tupperware style products lay on the floor. Eileen gets up.
Excuse me.
She opens the front door. Napoleon stands looking at her.
Hi, is Trisha here?
No, she's at a friend's house right now.
Hey, Napoleon.
Napoleon looks past Eileen. Uncle Rico waves at him. Napoleon's face goes blank.
Napoleon's my nephew.
Eileen looks back to Napoleon.
That's nice.
Yeah, could you give this to her for me?
Napoleon hands Eileen the bag.
Certainly could.
Thanks.
Napoleon turns and leaves.
Bye.
She closes the door. Eileen sits back down across from Uncle Rico.
Poor kid. I've been taking care of him while his grandma's in the hospital. Wets the bed and everything.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
Oh, yeah. He's a tender little guy. Changed his last name to Dynamite in junior high. Still gets beat up and whatnot. Anyhow, are we still feeling pretty good about this 32-piece set?
Interior, Napoleon's kitchen afternoon. Napoleon holds Kip in a tight headlock. They struggle.
What the crap is Uncle Rico doing in my girlfriend's house?
Oh, let go, Napoleon. You're bruising my neck, mate.
Napoleon lets go. Kip straightens out and rubs his neck.
What are you guys doing? Trying to ruin my life? Made me look like a freaking idiot.
I'm out making some moolah with Uncle Rico.
Kip rubs his hand on his neck and then looks at his hand.
I think you ripped my mole off.
I did.
Yeah, is my neck bleeding?
Napoleon looks at the back of his neck.
A little bit.
Kip glares at Napoleon. Beat. Uncle Rico walks in.
Hey, Kip.
Napoleon glances angrily at Uncle Rico.
I wish you wouldn't look at me like that, Napoleon.
I want you to get out of my life and shut up.
Uncle Rico stands still and stares at Napoleon. Beat.
You're out playing patty cake with Pedro. Uncle Rico's out making himself $120.
I can make that much money in 5 seconds.
Yeah, right, Napoleon. I made $75 today.
Bull, Kip, you're on welfare.
I can still make a few bucks on the side.
Well, Napoleon, looks like you don't have a job. So why don't you go feed Tina?
Why don't you go eat a decrowed piece of crap?
Interior, Trisha's living room evening. Trisha stands holding the paper bag. She reaches inside and pulls out Napoleon's laminated picture. She reads a handwritten note on the back of it. It reads, "There's a lot more where this came from. If you go to the dance with me, yours truly, Napoleon Dynamite." Oh, sorry.
All where this came from. You go to dance with me. Yours truly, Napoleon Dynamite.
Trisha turns the sheet over to see the picture. Beat. Trisha appears frightened.
You know you're going to go to the dance with that boy.
Trisha turns and sees her mother standing by the couch. She drops the picture of a hideous sketch portrait and that looks more like a Sasquatch than a girl. The eyes are spaced very far apart from each other. The mouth is small and the nose is narrow. Trisha is written in cursive at the bottom of the portrait. Exterior chicken farm day. A farmer wearing overalls addressed Napoleon and 3 younger kids outside an enormous chicken barn. Lyle stands next to the farmer.
By noon, I need them 8,000 hens moved into their new cages. Sometimes they don't want to cooperate. Just give them a good shake and they should settle down for you.
Napoleon raises his hand.
Did he have large talons?
Do they have what?
Large talons.
Boy, I don't understand a word you just said.
Napoleon shifts his stance a bit and shrugs.
Okay, meet me back out here at noon and we'll have a little lunch waiting for you.
Interior chicken barn day. Napoleon struggles to take a chicken out of its cage. He pulls it out and it flaps its wings wildly. He can't seem to get it under control. Finally, he shakes it and it goes limp. Oh, he stuffs it in the new cage. The 3 younger kids try to move the ferocious chickens into their new cages. Chickens suck. Napoleon struggles with 2 more chickens and puts them in their cages. Exterior chicken barn day. A picnic table with a bowl of hard-boiled eggs, egg salad sandwiches, and orange juice. The farmer stands over the pitcher of orange juice with an egg in his hand. He cracks the egg and then empties its contents into the pitcher of juice. Ew. The buzz of flies can be heard. Napoleon and the kids look on. Farmer begins to mix the juice and egg with a large spoon.
Well, dig in.
Napoleon walks over to the table and grabs a sandwich. The kids follow his lead. Napoleon takes a bite out of a sandwich. A kid takes a bite out of a hard-boiled egg. Another kid bites into an egg sandwich. Lyle chews a hard-boiled egg. A different kid takes a bite out of a sandwich with dry yolk and egg in his mouth. Lyle points off in the distance and begins to say something. Muffled with egg and old age, he is entirely inaudible.
Down in the creek bed, I found some Shoshone Indian arrowheads.
Napoleon takes a bite of a hard-boiled egg as he struggles to understand. The farmer takes a sip of orange juice. The other kids try to listen. Napoleon drinks some orange juice. Beat. His gag reflex kicks in slightly.
I can't find my checkbook, so I hope you don't mind if I pay in change.
Interior Napoleon's kitchen day. Napoleon sits at the table counting a pile of change. Pedro sits across from him. Napoleon thinks for a moment.
$6. That's like $1 an hour.
That's terrible. The phone rings. Napoleon answers.
Hello?
Interior Trisha's living room day. Trisha sits on a couch with a phone on her ear. Her mother sits next to her. Intercut with Napoleon in the kitchen.
Is Napoleon there?
Yeah,
Can I talk to him?
you already are.
Oh, Napoleon, this is Trisha. I'm just calling to tell you that I can go to the dance with you. And I also wanted to thank you for the beautiful drawing you did of me. It's hanging in my bedroom.
Eileen nods her head. Trisha rolls her eyes.
Really? Took about 3 hours to do all the shading on your upper lip. It's probably about the best drawing I've ever done.
It's really nice.
Yeah, well, I'll probably just pick you up at 6 or for the dance. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Interior Napoleon's kitchen day. Napoleon hangs up the phone and sits down. Who was that?
Trisha,
Who's she?
my woman I'm taking to the dance.
Did you give her a drawing?
Heck yes, I did.
Well, what are you going to wear to the dance?
Just like a silk shirt or something. What are you wearing?
Deb has something for me, but you should probably get a suit. Napoleon and Pedro look at each other from across the table. Interior thrift store day. A mannequin sports a 3-piece brown 70s style suit. Soft lounge music plays in the background. Napoleon and Pedro study the suit.
Pedro, how do you feel about that one?
Looks nice.
Looks sweet. Awesome.
Pedro walks up to the mannequin and looks at the price tag. It's $12.
$12 for that?
Hold on. Pedro walks over to the woman at the front register.
Gosh, freaking ripoff.
You guys have a layaway program?
We sure don't.
Okay. Pedro walks back to Napoleon. They don't do layaway.
You dare me to just hide it, then I'll just come back and buy it later.
That's a good idea. Cut to Napoleon stands by a bookcase and pulls out a lusty romance book. He walks to the corner of the store where a security camera is mounted to the ceiling. Napoleon stands underneath the camera and looks over to Pedro, who is next to the mannequin. With his fingers, Napoleon signals 1, 2, and 3. Then Napoleon slowly raises the book cover in front of the camera lens. Interior security room day. Renee, a middle-aged woman, sits at a chair in front of the security monitor. The book cover fills the whole screen. It shows Fabio-like man with his shirt off, dipping a busty woman with flowing hair. Renee appears a little excited.
Oh.
She slowly stands up at the speed of a snail and begins the trek up for the door. Interior thrift store day. Napoleon holds the book back in front of the camera. Pedro stuffs the suit into an old suitcase. Renee inches her way down some stairs. Pedro puts the suitcase back. Napoleon places the book back on the shelf. Exterior thrift store day. Napoleon and Pedro exit the thrift store. Interior thrift store day. Renee stands in the store out of breath. Exterior La Tienda gas station day. Pedro sits on a bench in front of the gas station. Interior La Tienda gas station day. Napoleon walks up to the counter.
Hey, how's it going?
Cashier looks at him.
Those egg rolls are looking pretty nice. I'm get me some later, but you know what? I think I'll just buy me one of them lotto tickets.
The cashier glares at Napoleon suspiciously.
The wife says I gotta quit, but I'm just feeling really positive and
Go home. I'm not selling lottery to a minor.
Napoleon leaves and bumps his knee into a cooler. He keeps walking. Exterior La Tienda gas station day. Napoleon walks out of the gas station. Pedro sits on a bench.
they won't sell me one. I don't look old enough. Dang.
Beep. Do you think I look old enough? Napoleon turns his head toward Pedro. Interior La Tienda gas station day. Pedro stands nervously in front of the cashier. Un lotto ticket, por favor. The cashier looks at him suspiciously, and then he looks at Pedro's mustache. Extreme close-up on the mustache. The cashier relaxes and then hands him a lotto ticket. Gracias. Exterior La Tienda gas station day. Napoleon waits at the bench in front of the gas station. Pedro walks out and joins him.
Did you get it?
Pedro hands the lotto ticket to Napoleon.
Yes.
Napoleon scratches it with his fingernail.
Yes, Pedro. You picked a great one. We won $10.
Exterior Main Street day. In slow motion, Napoleon walks down the street in the brown three-piece suit. He holds a corsage in his hand. Interior Napoleon's kitchen day. Uncle Rico holds a slab of steak in his hand and takes a bite of it. And then he sips a mug of milk with ice. Ew. Napoleon stands on the other side of the counter.
I need you to give me a ride in an hour.
Where to?
The dance?
You taking my client's daughter?
Yes. I gotta pick her up too.
Well, Uncle Rico's got a sale to finalize up in Bonita in 5 minutes.
Can't you just take me and then drop me off when you're done or whatever?
Uncle Rico looks at Napoleon and then pours a big piece of ice into his mouth. Exterior dirt road afternoon. Uncle Rico drives his Buick down a dirt road. Napoleon sits next to him and the corsage sits in the dashboard. Exterior farmhouse afternoon. Napoleon sits in the parked car. Uncle Rico starts to get out.
I'll be back in a minute. Don't disturb me while I'm in there.
Well, hurry up, because I gotta get Trisha.
Uncle Rico slams the door close and then heads for the house. He knocks on the door and an old lady lets him in. Napoleon sits in the car all bored. He takes the corsage off the dash, opens the clear plastic box, and then smells it. He closes it and puts it back on the dash. Napoleon looks at the house. Beat. Napoleon looks at his watch. It reads 5:40 p.m. Napoleon takes the corsage off the dash and gets out of the car. He jogs to the house and knocks on the door. Beat. He knocks again. No answer. He runs back toward the car and then stops. He scans the long, deserted road in front of him. He starts running down the road. Exterior, Deb's house, afternoon. A finger touches a doorbell. Pedro stands at the door, holding a corsage. He wears a blazer with a t-shirt underneath and some stonewashed jeans. Pedro's aunt waits behind him in an Astro minivan. Deb opens the door. She's dressed in big pink dress with huge, puffy shoulder sleeves. Pedro hands her the corsage. She smiles and walks out. Pedro smiles back. Exterior, dirt road, afternoon. Napoleon slowly jogs down the empty road. He stops and bends over to catch his breath. He looks at his watch. It reads 5:55 p.m. Napoleon throws his head back.
Go.
Napoleon slowly brings his head back down. Beat. Hip-hop beats can be heard in the distance. Napoleon notices. He turns his head in the direction of the music. A slick lowrider Impala drives down the road with a big cloud of dust trailing behind. Napoleon watches the car approach. The Impala slows down and stops right in front of him. Shoulder number 1 and shoulder number 2, with shaved heads, white t-shirts, mustaches, and soul patches, sit in the car. Both wear big sunglasses. They look at Napoleon. Interior lowrider, afternoon. Napoleon sits in the back of the lowrider as it drives down the road.
So are you guys Pedro's cousins with all the sweet hookups?
True that.
Napoleon nods his head and looks out the window. Exterior, Trisha's house, afternoon. A finger touches the doorbell. Napoleon stands on the porch holding his corsage. The lowrider can be seen behind him in the driveway. The front door opens to reveal Sheldon's dad. Oh, God, I couldn't say how. Trisha's dad, Sheldon. Bazinga. He studies Napoleon for a moment. Beat.
Trisha here.
Sheldon notices the lowrider over Napoleon's shoulder. Its front hydraulics bounce the car a bit. Hip-hop beats can be heard from the car.
Who's that in my driveway?
That's my ride.
Whoa there, big guy. My daughter's not going anywhere with you or your amigos.
Sheldon, come here.
Sheldon hesitates and then moves behind the door. He and Eileen can be heard bickering behind the partially closed door. Napoleon shifts a beat and stretches his neck out. Sheldon opens the door again, defeated.
Yeah, just make sure she sits by an airbag.
Okay.
Interior lowrider, afternoon. Cholo number 1 drives. Trisha sits shotgun, and Napoleon and Cholo number 2 sit in the back. They drive down the street listening to hip-hop music. Interior, high school dance, evening. Teenage couples slowly sway to a slow song. The camera zooms through the crowd of bodies to catch Napoleon and Trisha walking in. They come in and sit on some chairs next to a wall. From his seat, Napoleon looks for Pedro. Different couples bear hug dance. The camera zooms in on Pedro and Deb, who dance on the other side of the crowd. They chat happily. Napoleon tries to get Pedro's attention by waving his arm. No luck. Napoleon turns to Trisha, who has her arms folded and is looking away.
Want to go over there by my friend Pedro and dance really quick?
Trisha acts like she doesn't hear. She stands up quickly and walks over to a group of her friends sitting on the other chairs. They chat happily. Napoleon watches her. He then tries to distract himself by looking at the dance again. Interior, high school bathroom, evening. Napoleon walks in the bathroom and viciously pumps the lever on the paper towel dispenser. He rips off a sheet of brown paper and blows his nose. Interior, high school dance, evening. Dom is among Trisha's friends. He motions his head toward the exit a few times. Trisha looks back to where Napoleon was sitting. The chair is empty. She turns back to her friends and nods. Trisha and the group leave. Interior, high school bathroom, evening. Napoleon looks at himself in the mirror. Beat. He takes out a pack of Big League Chew grape bubblegum. He pulls out a handful, puts it in his mouth, and begins chewing. He exits. Interior, high school dance evening. Napoleon walks into the dance and looks around. He stands alone, looking for Trisha. Beat. Napoleon. Pedro and Deb are standing next to him now. When did you get here?
A minute ago. Have you guys seen Trisha anywhere?
No.
Sorry. She probably just went to the. Oh,
She probably just went to the bathroom. Are you guys having a killer time?
Yes.
Beat. They all watch the dance. If you can't find her, I'll let you dance with Deb for a few songs. Cut to Napoleon and Deb dance together during a slow song. They move slowly and awkwardly. Napoleon raises his hand and tenderly lifts one of the poofy sleeves at her shoulder.
I like her sleeves. They're real big.
Thanks. I made them myself.
So, are you and Pedro getting really serious now?
No, we're just friends.
How's your glamour shots going lately?
Pretty good.
Beat.
I could do you a personal portrait sometime if you wanted to come over.
Okay.
She looks away, and they keep on dancing. Interior high school hallway evening. Pedro takes a drink from the drinking fountain. He looks up at the wall above the fountain. A poster reads, "Class elections. To run for president. Sign up at the office." Pedro studies the sign. Interior high school dance evening. Pedro, Napoleon, and Deb sit on the chairs. How do you run for president? Interior high school office day. In office of the secretary. Pedro and Napoleon walk up to the desk.
Hey, how are you doing?
What can I do for you?
How do you sign up to become school president?
You mean run for office?
Yes, that's what I mean.
You need to fill out an application and turn it in before 3.
Where do we get one of those?
Right there.
She points to a stack of blue papers on the counter.
Thanks.
Pedro grabs an application. As he grabs one, Summer Wheatley walks up behind him and grabs one also. She pauses and glares at Pedro for a second. Then she quickly turns and walks away. Exterior high school steps day. Napoleon and Pedro sit on the steps in front of the school. Pedro reads the blue application. Tomorrow, I could start putting up campaign flyers on people's lockers. Pedro lowers the application and thinks for a moment. What should I put on them?
I don't know. I could draw like a really sweet picture of you flying around on a dragon, and then we'd have it say, "Reach for the stars."
What about the FFA competition?
Oh yeah, when is it?
Tomorrow?
Crap.
Beat. Do you think people will vote for me?
Heck yes. I vote for you.
Like, what are my skills?
Well, you got a sweet bike. You're pretty good at hooking up with chicks. Plus, you're like the only guy at school that has a mustache.
That's true.
You need to use any of my skills. I'll do whatever you want.
Thanks. Beat. If I win, you could be my secretary or something.
Sweet. Plus, I could be your bodyguard too, or like a Secret Service captain or whatever.
Okay. Interior Napoleon's house day. A homemade time machine sits on the kitchen table. It is a gray metal box with a knob on it, a counter to punch, and the date. A wire going from the box to a metal headband, and a metal headband that has the wire going to the metal T handle with a ball on the end. A white piece of paper is taped onto the box. It reads, "Don't touch." Napoleon stands looking at it. He glances over at Kip, who is typing on the computer.
Is that yours?
Don't touch it. It's Uncle Rico's.
What's it for?
Napoleon sits down at the table to examine it further.
The time machine. We bought it online.
Yeah, right.
It works, Napoleon. You don't know.
Have you guys tried it yet?
No.
Napoleon grabs a photocopied packet entitled Time Machine Modulus User's Manual. Cut to Napoleon has the metal headband strapped to his head. He looks over to the wall. The time machine is plugged into a socket. Napoleon looks at the manual. It shows a clip art man holding the T handle between his legs. Napoleon does the same. Kip watches as he walks in place nervously.
Don't do it, Napoleon.
Napoleon darts his eyes over at his brother and then back at the box of the table. He looks at the on and off switch.
Dare me?
Napoleon, don't.
Napoleon takes a deep breath. Beat. He reaches over and flips on the switch. A red light above the switch comes on and a low hum can be heard. Napoleon feels a sudden surge of pain in his groin and head. He jerks around in his seat.
Ow! Ow! Ow, it hurts! Turn it off!
Kip runs over and unplugs it. Napoleon grunts in pain. Kip watches curiously.
Got to put in the crystals.
Kip grabs a Ziploc bag of crystals on the counter.
Put them in the crystal holder right there.
Napoleon points to a small metal cup mounted to the top of the box. Kip puts them in.
Are you ready?
Yeah, hold on.
Napoleon repositions the T handle between his legs.
Okay, turn it on.
Kip plugs in the time machine. A low hum is heard instantly. Napoleon squints his eyes to endure the pain. A crackling noise can be heard. Beat. Napoleon starts to twitch a bit.
Ow! Ow! My back! Turn it off!
Uncle Rico stands in the hallway watching. He holds a briefcase. Kip unplugs it. Napoleon closes his eyes and turns his head up to the ceiling in pain.
It's a piece of crap. It doesn't work.
I could have told you that.
Napoleon and Kip turn and see Uncle Rico. Silence. Interior grocery store, afternoon. Uncle Rico pushes a grocery cart down an aisle. He walks as if he's favoring his groin. Napoleon walks into frame, also favoring his groin, and puts a stack of markers in the cart. Uncle Rico looks at them.
I said a 16 pack, not the 38. You're just going to have to mix and match. I'll put them back.
God,
Napoleon grabs the markers and walks out of frame. Uncle Rico keeps pushing the cart. Cut to Summer Wheatley is the cashier. She punches some numbers into the cash register. She glances at Napoleon and Uncle Rico, who load groceries onto a conveyor belt. Uncle Rico notices a box of individualized chips.
Napoleon, you know we can't afford the fun packs. We're not made of money. Take them back and get some Pampers for you and your brother.
Napoleon looks at Summer angrily. She grins. Napoleon leaves. Interior, FFA Agriculture Building, day. A jar of milk is brought up to Napoleon's lips. He takes a drink. He sets it back down on the table where there are other jars of milk with numbers on them. A banner hanging from the table reads, Future Farmers of America, 3 FFA judges with clipboards and blue corduroy jackets stand behind him. Napoleon moves his tongue around in his mouth. Moves his tongue around his mouth.
the thug in that one is bleach.
Meat.
Correct.
Yes.
Napoleon brings another jar of milk to his mouth and drinks. He sets the jar back down.
It tastes like this cow gone to an onion patch.
Judge number 1 raises his eyebrows and nods to judge number 2.
Correct.
Yes.
Interior FFA barn, day. A set of cow udders. Pedro is kneeling down studying them. An old judge stands behind him with a clipboard. They are pretty good, except for one problem. Pedro points his finger at a 5th nipple on the udder. That little guy right there, he has nipple number 5. A good dairy cow should only have like 4.
Well done.
Interior FFA Agriculture Building, day. Napoleon takes a sip of another jar of milk. He sets it back on the table. He thinks, beat.
Delicious. It's fine. It's just good old-fashioned whole milk.
The judge compare their clipboards. Beat.
Correct again. You're in first place.
Yes. Yes.
Napoleon makes a fist. Interior high school hallway, day. A series of shots of buttons being placed onto shirts. The buttons read, Summer for President. Summer, Trisha, Don, and others pass them out to kids during passing period. Lockers are adorned with flyers of Summer's face and text that reads, Vote for Summer. Pedro and Napoleon stand in the hall with gold medals around their neck, watching them pass out the campaign buttons. Pedro wipes some sweat off his forehead with his index finger. Do you think it's kind of warm in here?
No,
I think they have the heater on or something.
seems pretty good to me.
You don't feel like your head is burning or something?
No.
I'm gonna go home and lie down.
Okay, see ya.
Pedro turns and leaves. Napoleon takes a bite of a roll. Don approaches him with a button.
Vote for Summer.
He tries to hand Napoleon a button.
Yeah, right. I'm not voting for her.
Who are you going to vote for, Napoleon?
I'm voting for Pedro Sanchez. Who do you think?
Don starts laughing. He shakes his head and starts to leave.
Hey, can I steal one of those buttons?
Don looks at him warily and then hands him one. Napoleon grabs it and quickly turns and violently hurls it down the other end of the hall. The hall immediately goes silent as Summer, Trisha, and the others look on. Napoleon immediately runs down some stairs to his right. Interior burger joint day. Uncle Rico and Kip sit across from each other, eating onion rings and shakes.
That guy in Florida give you your money back yet?
I sent him an email saying I was going to notify the authorities if I didn't get a refund in full. Do you ever wish that you could just go back? I mean, with all the knowledge you have now.
I guess so.
Tell you what, you'd find your soulmate.
I've already got a soulmate.
What was her name again?
LaFonda.
Yeah, Fonda. How's she doing?
I think she's gonna need some time off. She's coming out from Detroit in a few days.
Well, what about work? Have you studied up on the new product?
Yes,
Do you know it back to front?
basically.
I'll try to sell some to that girlfriend of yours.
Kip looks squarely at Uncle Rico.
She doesn't need it.
Uncle Rico chews an onion ring. Exterior Pedro's house day. Pedro sits on his driveway with a bike upside down. He wears a hooded sweatshirt with the drawstrings pulling the hood tight around his face. He works on the bike. Napoleon approaches from the sidewalk. He holds a trapper keeper.
Hey, I need some drawings for the flyers.
Pedro turns the pedals on his bike around. Thanks.
Why do you got your hood on like that?
Well, when I came home from school, interior Pedro's kitchen day. Pedro stands in his kitchen and drinks a tall glass of ice water. My head started to get really hot, so I drank some cold water, but it didn't do anything. Interior Pedro's bathroom day. Pedro lays in a bubble bath. So I laid in the bathtub for a while, but then I realized that it was my hair that was making my head so hot. Interior Pedro's kitchen day. Pedro stands in his kitchen with an electric razor and starts shaving his head. So I went in my kitchen and I shaved it all off. Exterior Pedro's house day. Pedro sits next to his bike. I don't want anyone to see. Napoleon stares at him. Interior Deb's studio afternoon. Napoleon and Deb stand behind a table of mannequin heads with wigs on them. Pedro is sitting down on a stool. Deb hands Napoleon a curly red wig. Napoleon grabs at it, but grabs Deb's hand instead.
Sorry.
Deb looks away shyly. She grabs another wig off a mannequin head. It's brown and manly.
This one matches your season, Pedro.
Thank you. Exterior high school morning. A bewigged Pedro and Napoleon pull up to the high school on the Huffy. Napoleon stands on the pegs. They get off the bike and go in. Interior high school hallway morning. An empty, quiet hallway. Another empty, quiet hallway. Pedro and Napoleon stand and enjoy the silence. Snap zooms. A roll of tape. Pedro rips a piece off. Napoleon slams a flyer on a locker over the top of Summer flyer. It reads, "Reach for the stars with Pedro." It shows a sketch of Pedro flying on a dragon with stars above them. Pedro rips off a piece of tape. Napoleon slams a flyer on a wall of tile, above a drinking fountain, on a door, on a vending machine, above some urinals, etc. Napoleon and Pedro walk over to a locker and look at it. It's covered with summer campaign paraphernalia. A blue school bell rings. Exterior, high school steps, morning. A boondoggle keychain is placed into a hand. Another boondoggle keychain is placed in a different hand.
Vote for Pedro. Vote for Pedro.
Napoleon and Pedro stand in front of the school doors, passing out keychains to arriving students. Napoleon wears a t-shirt with iron-on letters that read, "Vote for Pedro." Pedro wears a vaquero blazer with a white shirt and a bolo tie and a brown wig with a heart in it. Reach for the stars with Pedro. Pedro hands a keychain to a girl.
Vote for Pedro.
Napoleon hands a keychain to a student. Summer and Trisha stand by a tree and watch. A keychain is attached to a belt loop. Another is placed on a finger like a big ring. And one is attached to an FFA jacket zipper and then zipped up. Interior high school hallway day. Nathan, a small teenager with braces, puts some books into his locker. Randy walks up behind him and pinches his neck with his hand. Nathan shrinks in pain.
Nathan, let me borrow 50 cents so I can get a pop.
I don't have any, Randy.
Come on, Hesdy. I'll pay you back.
Don't.
Hesdy!
Napoleon zips from a drinking fountain and notices the scuffle. Randy pinches Nathan's neck harder. Nathan begins to bend over in pain.
Stop. Here.
Nathan pulls some change out of his pocket and hands it to Randy. Randy leaves. Nathan rubs his neck.
Hey,
Nathan turns and sees Napoleon standing next to him.
how's your neck doing?
Thanks.
That's too bad.
Napoleon pulls a boondoggle keychain out of his jacket and hands it to Nathan.
Pedro offers you his protection.
Oh, God, here it comes. Nathan looks down to the keychain in his hand and then back up Napoleon. Exterior, bike rack day. The combination of a cheap bike lock is unlocked. Nathan pulls his bike off the bike rack. Randy approaches him.
Nathan, let me borrow your bike. I'll give you 2 king-size nut rolls and some chips. I'll bring it back.
No.
Nathan tries to leave, but Randy grabs the handlebars and they fight over the bike. Hip-hop beats can be heard. Boom, boom, boom. Cholo number 1 and Cholo number 2 pull up to the curb in their low rider. A sign written in Gothic calligraphy is mounted to the side of their car. It reads, "Vote for Pedro." Randy stops and looks at the car. Cholo number 1 shakes his head at Randy, who lets go of the bike and runs off. Nathan glances over at the bar. Cholo number 1 gives him a casual nod. Oh, yeah. Interior high school hallway day. A group of nerdy boys put out their hands. Pedro gives each one boondoggle keychain. Exterior bus station day. Kip waits at a bus station holding a cardboard sign that reads La Fonda. A vase of flowers is at his feet. People file out of a big charter bus. Kip looks for La Fonda. A pair of gold high heels step down from the bus. The camera tilts up to reveal La Fonda, a tall, sexy, busty black woman with a long blonde hair. Kip smiles. At ground level, we see Kip's shoes and the vase of flowers. The pair of gold heels rush into frame and accidentally kick over the vase of flowers as the two embrace. Exterior neighborhood street, afternoon. Trisha and Summer walk down the sidewalk slowly. Uncle Rico's car slowly creeps up. Oh, God, this seems so creepy. Creeps up alongside them. He sticks his head out of the window and stops the car next to them.
Hey, are you Trisha?
Yeah.
Do you remember me? I'm one of your mom's friends. I'm Napoleon's uncle.
Trisha glances at Summer.
Oh, yeah.
Could you do me a favor and give a couple of these to your mom for me?
Uncle Rico hands Trisha a handful of peach-colored flyers.
Just tell her she can pass them out to her friends or whoever.
Okay.
Now, you guys feel free to give me a call if you could use some.
Wow. Uncle Rico grins at them and then drives off. Trisha looks at the flyer. It reads, Bust Plus, increase your breast size in days. The natural way. A picture of a busty lady in a sweater. Wrong. Interior, high school classroom day. Napoleon sits at his desk. Randy sits next to him.
Hey, Napoleon, I hear your family sells breast enhancer for a living.
Whoa, where's your at?
Her?
Randy points to Trisha, who sits at the front of the class. Napoleon scowls. Interior, high school hallway day. Napoleon walks down the hall during passing period. Napoleon's locker is covered in peach Bus Plus flyers. He stares at it. Exterior park day. Kip and LaFonda sit at a picnic table. Kip spoons a glob of milkshake. He slowly reaches across the table and puts it into LaFonda's mouth. She closes her eyes and swallows it in pleasure. Beat, Kip watches her. She looks back at him and studies his eyes. She slowly reaches for his face, hesitates, and then lifts off his glasses. She sets them on the table. She pulls out a black velvet jewelry box and sets it on the table. She opens it up. Kip looks inside. LaFonda pulls out a thick gold chain. Kip raises his eyebrows. She reaches over and puts it on him. Exterior neighborhood street afternoon. Uncle Rico drives down the street. A grapefruit hits the driver's side door. Uncle Rico slams on the brakes and looks out the window. Napoleon stands at the side of the road by a tree. He looks at Uncle Rico and then makes a run for it. Uncle Rico gets out of the car and bolts after him. They run across a small field. Napoleon slips on some leaves and falls. Uncle Rico jumps on top of him and puts him in a headlock. They struggle on the ground.
Why the hell are you throwing crap at my Buick, Napoleon?
Her school thinks I'm a freaking idiot because of you.
Uncle Rico tightens his hold and they roll on the ground. Napoleon grunts in pain.
You gotta clean my car now, huh?
Let go of me, you idiot.
Napoleon lands a chop into his kidneys. Boom. Uncle Rico lets go. Napoleon storms off. Exterior, high school, day. Pedro and Deb stand in front of the high school. Pedro looks at his watch. Napoleon is supposed to be here. Have you seen him?
No.
That's weird. Pedro reveals that he's holding onto a rope. He gives it a few tugs. The rope is attached to a piñata effigy of Summer that is hanging from a tree. It bobs up and down as a blindfolded boy swings at it with a broom handle. Other teenagers cheer him on. Exterior thrift store day. Napoleon walks down the street and goes into a thrift store. Interior thrift store day. Napoleon tries on a fanny pack and then puts it back on the rack. He handles a pair of nunchucks. Oh yeah. He looks down a pile of videotapes. He pulls one out. It reads, "Daquan's Dance Grooves." The cover shows a smiling black man wearing a head microphone. A 50-cent price sticker is on the cover also. Nice. Napoleon's eyes grow big. Cut to Napoleon drops 2 quarters into the cashier's hand. Exterior, thrift store day. Napoleon walks quickly out of the store. Interior, high school office day. Pedro sits on a chair outside of the principal's office. Deb looks at him from the hallway. The principal opens the door.
Pedro, step into my office, please.
Pedro looks up at the principal and goes inside. Interior principal's office day. The principal sits at his desk. Pedro looks at him blankly.
Look, Pedro, I don't know how they do things down in Juarez, but here in Idaho, we have a little something called pride. Understand? Smashing in the face of a piñata that resembles Summer Wheatley is a disgrace to you, me, and the entire Gem State.
Interior, Napoleon's bedroom day. Napoleon sits on his bed, scratching his head. He blankly looks around the room. Beat. Napoleon pulls the Daquan's Dan screws video out of his jacket and looks at it. He hits the eject button on the VCR and the cassette holder pops up. He inserts the tape and hits play. Napoleon closes the door to his room. From outside the closed door, we hear happy music intro and then Daquan's voice.
Hi, I'm Daquan. Are you ready to get your groove on?
Yes.
Okay, let's get started.
Interior high school hallway day. Pedro sits in an empty hallway, taking his flyers off the lockers and crumpling them up. Exterior high school steps day. Pedro sits on some steps thinking. Deb comes down and sits next to him.
Are you disqualified?
No, they just made me take down all my flyers as a penalty for the piñata.
Can you still run for president?
Yeah, I don't understand. He said you're not allowed to smash piñatas that look like real people, but we do it in Mexico all the time. Beep.
Your hair looked great today.
Thank you.
I can make some more boondoggle if you ran out.
That's okay. I said I have a lot.
All right. See you tomorrow, Pedro.
I wave goodbye. Deb leaves. Interior, Napoleon's kitchen afternoon. Napoleon stands in front of the fridge with his back to us. He pours himself a glass of red Kool-Aid. He turns around. His face is sweaty and his shirt has sweat stains on it. Dance music can be heard coming from his room. Napoleon takes a drink. La Fonda sits at the kitchen table looking at Napoleon. Napoleon notices her and chokes on his drink. Beat. She speaks with a low and sexy voice.
Who are you?
I'm La Fonda.
What are you doing here?
I'm waiting for Kip.
Kip?
Why are you so sweaty?
I've been practicing
Practicing what?
some dance moves.
Napoleon quickly takes a gulp of Kool-Aid.
You like dancing.
The sound of a door closing. Kip comes in. He looks entirely different. No glasses. Sports a gold chain, a ripped turtleneck sweater, a poofy vest, and baggy jeans.
Well, my chores are done.
Napoleon stares at Kip, shocked.
Are you ready, LaFonda?
I am, honey.
Sorry, Napoleon. We're running a little late for some prime rib. Tell Uncle Rico not to wait up for me.
LaFonda pulls a cassette tape out of her purse.
You might like this. My cousin made it.
LaFonda hands the tape to Napoleon.
I'll be waiting outside, baby. Bye, Napoleon.
LaFonda leaves.
See ya.
Kip watches her leave. Kip sighs.
Fonda's been the best thing that's happened to me. I'm 100% positive she's my soulmate. I'm sure there's a babe out there for you too somewhere.
Beat. They awkwardly look at each other.
Peace out.
Kip leaves.
See ya.
Exterior high school baseball field day. A gym class plays kickball. Napoleon is on the mound. He rolls the ball to a boy at the plate. The boy kicks the ball over Napoleon and runs it to first base. Summer comes up to the plate. Napoleon holds the ball. Don and Trisha stand behind the fence.
Come on, Summer. Home run.
Summer gives Napoleon a crusty look. Napoleon looks at Pedro, who is playing shortstop. Napoleon looks back at Summer and rolls the ball. Summer bunts it with her foot and sprints toward first base. Napoleon scrambles for the ball and then launches it as hard as he can at Summer. It hits her leg with a slap and makes her trip and fall on the ground. Napoleon pants like a wolf. Trisha and Don run over to help Summer.
Oh, yeah? You're a big man, Napoleon. Real tough.
Napoleon walks to the bench. The team changes sides. Summer gets up and limps to her position in right field. Pedro steps up to the plate. Don takes his position with the ball on the mound.
You're going to lose tomorrow. You know it, Pedro.
Pedro rubs his mustache. Don rolls his ball. rolls the ball. Pedro drills it out into the field. He runs to the first base. Safe. Napoleon steps up to the plate.
Hey, Napoleon. You went to bed last night?
Hey, Don, did you get dumped to bed last night?
I can kick your butt, Napoleon, so I'd shut up.
Why don't you go tell your mom to shut up?
What'd you say?
Whatever I feel like I want to say.
Did you just say something about my mom?
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
You want to die, Napoleon?
Yeah, right. Who's the only one here that knows the legal ninja moves from the government?
Don steps right up to Napoleon's face.
Step up.
They exchange looks. Silence. Pedro watches from first base. Summer and Trisha watch from the outfield. Napoleon quickly slaps Don in the face. Slap! Don squeals like a girl.
Ah!
Don bends over and holds his face. Napoleon runs off the field as fast as he can. Pedro looks down at the ground. Exterior dirt road day. Napoleon runs down a dirt road next to some power lines. Interior high school hallway day. Pedro stares blankly at a poster on the wall. It reads, "Election assembly tomorrow, candidate speeches, etc." Exterior Johnson Reservoir day. Napoleon stands at the edge of a lake with a fishing pole and viciously casts out his line. It makes a plop sound as it hits the water. Exterior Pedro's house day. Pedro rides his bike to his house, puts the kickstand up, and goes inside. The bike falls as he walks away from it. Exterior Johnson Reservoir day. Napoleon reels in a small fish. He grabs the line and takes the fish off the hook. Interior Pedro's kitchen day. Pedro sits at his table writing on a piece of paper. Exterior Johnson Reservoir day. Napoleon drop kicks the fish back into the water. Interior Pedro's bathroom day. Pedro lays in a bubble bath. He submerges his head. Interior Deb's studio day. Uncle Rico stands by a rack of prom gowns. He fondles one of their necklines. Ew. Deb is pulling down a backdrop of a library scene.
Is this what you're looking for?
Well, I was thinking something a little more soft around the edges.
He continues to smooth out the bodice of a prom gown with his fingers.
Well, I have a nice soft pink sheet that I could hang, and then I could wrap you in foam or something billowy.
Billowy is good.
Uncle Rico walks toward Deb. He stands very close to her. She's oblivious to his sudden closeness and goes on jabbering. Ew.
It would be really nice if I could get the fan going and hang some tinsel from up the top.
Deb turns around to find Uncle Rico intimidatingly close.
You know, Deborah, you have striking features. Such a soft face should be complemented with a soft body.
Deb drops the pink sheet.
Mr. Rico,
My friends and clients call me Uncle Rico.
what are you,
Don't say another word. Napoleon told me you'd be interested.
Napoleon?
Uncle Rico quickly unbuttons the vest he is wearing. Deb gasps. Uncle Rico takes out a Bus Plus pamphlet from his shirt pocket. He sets it on a stool.
Call me when you're ready.
Uncle Rico winks at her and then saunters out. Deb stands frozen. She looks at the pamphlet on the stool. Interior Napoleon's house day. The phone rings. Napoleon's bedroom door is mostly closed, but through a crack, we see him following along to Daquan's dance grooves. The phone rings loudly. Interior Napoleon's kitchen day. Napoleon, sweating profusely, grabs his phone.
Hello?
Exterior phone booth day. Deb stands at a rural phone booth with a phone in hand. Intercut with Napoleon in the kitchen.
Napoleon?
Yeah, who's this?
It's Deb, and I'm calling to let you know that I think you're a shallow friend.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Don't lie, Napoleon. Your Uncle Rico made it very clear how you feel about me.
What?
I don't need herbal enhancers to feel good about myself. And if you're so concerned about that, why don't you try eating some yourself?
Napoleon listens with a blank look on his face. Beat.
Also, Pedro told me that you slapped Don in the face today. I hope that doesn't disqualify him from giving a speech tomorrow.
Deb hangs up on Napoleon. Interior Napoleon's kitchen day. Napoleon slowly pulls the phone away from his ear and hangs it up. Exterior Napoleon's backyard day. Uncle Rico stands throwing footballs toward a camera on a tripod. Napoleon walks out of the back door of the house.
Grandma just calls and said you're supposed to go home now.
Uncle Rico stops and looks at Napoleon. Beat.
She didn't tell me anything.
Throws a football.
Too bad. She said she doesn't want you here when she gets back because you've been ruining everybody's lives and eating all our steak.
I'm not going anywhere, Napoleon.
Get off my property.
It's a free country. I can do what I want.
Get off my property or I'll call the cops on you.
Go do it then.
Maybe I will. God.
Interior Napoleon's kitchen day. Napoleon grabs the phone off the hook and dials. Interior Pedro's house day. A phone rings. Pedro sits on a couch. He picks up the phone next to him. Intercut with Napoleon in the kitchen. Hello?
Pedro, how's it going?
Good.
What are you doing right now?
Just relaxing.
Deb just called me. She pretty much hates me right now
Why?
because my uncle Rico's an idiot.
Do you have anything you can give her?
No, not unless she likes fish. Are you still gonna do a speech tomorrow?
Yes. Are you going to come?
Yes, I'll be there. Do you know what you're gonna say?
Yeah, but not all of it.
Just tell them that the wildest dreams will come true if they vote for you.
Pedro takes a deep breath. Beat. Interior Napoleon's kitchen day. Napoleon listens.
I'll see you tomorrow, Pedro.
Napoleon hangs up the phone. He turns around and walks to the bay window. He watches Uncle Rico through the window. Uncle Rico throws a football and then cuts himself out. Napoleon looks on. Zoom in on Napoleon. Exterior empty road morning. The sun is popping up over the rolling hills. Beat. The school bus drives across frame. Exterior Napoleon's house morning. Napoleon wearing a Vote for Pedro t-shirt. Again, a Walkman and carrying a tinfoil wrapped fish. Walks out of the front door. Uncle Rico's Buick is missing. Napoleon walks to the end of the driveway and gets on the bus. Interior school bus morning. Napoleon walks to the back of the bus. He sits across from Vern.
What are you listening to, Napoleon?
None of your business, Flip.
Both boys turn toward the windows. Napoleon picks up the tin-foiled fish and smells it. Interior high school auditorium day. The entire audience is sitting quietly, staring up at an empty stage. Summer Wheatley walks on stage and a spotlight follows her. She's wearing a pantsuit. The audience cheers for her. Pedro and Napoleon watch from backstage.
Well, I never thought I'd make it here today.
Exterior neighborhood street day. Uncle Rico walks briskly down the street. He is wearing his name badge and carrying Bus Plus pamphlets. Interior offstage room day. Pedro stands nervously wearing a bow tie and cowboy boots. He is staring at his crumpled speech. Napoleon stands next to him. Interior high school auditorium day.
Who wants to eat chimichangas all next year? Not me. With me, it'll be summer all year round.
Interior offstage room day. Pedro looks up and mouths the words, "Dame, senor." Interior high school auditorium day. The audience applauds. The principal stands on stage with a microphone in hand.
And now Summer will perform her skit with some members of the Happy Hands Club.
A love song can be heard. That wasn't the Backstreet Boys. Interior offstage room day. A teacher walks up to Pedro.
Your skit is up next. Your skit better be pretty good.
A skit?
You perform a skit after your speech, Pedro.
What? A flippin' skit? Why didn't anybody tell us about this?
Interior high school auditorium day. Several girls, including Summer and Trisha, wearing matching black spandex outfits, wave their hands majestically to a Bryan Adams type song. Oh, wow, this changed big time. The audience is in awe. The principal stands off stage, mesmerized. Ew. Interior Rex's kitchen day. Uncle Rico sits casually at a dining table. Oh my God. Starla, a 30-something bodybuilder lady, sits across from Uncle Rico. Uncle Rico has several pamphlets strewn over the table. He crosses his legs.
Now, if you look right here, we have Sally Johnson from Manitou, Colorado.
Uncle Rico hands Starla an open pamphlet.
Can you read that testimonial right there?
Sure, after using Bus Plus, I have such big boobs.
Starla chokes on her word.
I don't feel comfortable reading this.
That's fine. That's fine. But do you feel comfortable with me?
Well, this is kind of personal.
Right. Let's get down to the point. What size do you take?
A B.
How do you feel about that?
Interior high school auditorium day, a cheering audience. Interior offstage room day. Napoleon and Pedro stand frozen in the dressing room. I don't really want to be president anyway.
Pedro, just listen to your heart. That's what I do.
I'll just tell them that I don't have nothing to say. Interior high school auditorium day. Pedro walks out onto the stage. The spotlight blares on him. He holds the speech over his eyes. Napoleon watches. Pedro tries to see someone familiar in the audience. He stumbles and kicks the podium. Hello. I don't have much to say. Interior Rex's kitchen day. Uncle Rico is standing near a rack of pots and pans. Starla is sitting petrified.
Now, let's just say.
Uncle Rico, attempting to be graceful, pulls out 2 cooking pots off the rack.
You're somewhere around here.
Uncle Rico places the small pots to his chest. Exterior Rex's house day. Rex of Rex Kwon-do gets out of a Subaru Brat. He is in his hammer pants and a polo. He walks toward the house. Interior Rex's kitchen day. Uncle Rico has the pots up to his chest still.
With 3 weeks of my product, you're going to be about here.
Uncle Rico grabs 2 larger pots from the rack and proceeds to hold them over Starla's chest. Door slam! Rex appears. Uncle Rico, frozen, looks back at him. Interior, high school auditorium day. Pedro is still at the microphone. His forehead is sweaty. He wipes it. A great FFA schedule lined up, and I'd like to see more of that. Exterior Rex's house day. Sounds of pots crashing and Uncle Rico getting beat up as if he's shooting McGavin. Interior offstage room day. Napoleon looks around. He scratches his head. Beat. He pulls out a cassette tape from the Walkman. He looks down at it. Beat. He looks out toward the stage. Interior high school auditorium day. Pedro still stands giving his speech. If you would vote for me, all of your wildest dreams will come true. Thank you. The audience claps less energetically. Pedro walks backstage. Interior backstage day. Napoleon stands off stage watching Pedro walk past him. Pedro looks exhausted. He is pulling off his bow tie and unbuttoning his collar. Napoleon looks at him, lets out a deep breath, and walks away.
And now we will enjoy a skit by Pedro Sanchez.
The curtains open to an empty stage. Silence. Beat. The audience looks on. Napoleon walks out on stage. Interior sound room day. A sound technician puts the cassette tape into a tape player. He hits play. Interior high school auditorium day. Napoleon turns and faces the audience with his hands in his pockets. Beat. Dance music begins. The dance music beat increases. In sync with the beats, Napoleon begins to dance. The audience is silent. Napoleon dances seamlessly for the entire song. He struts a fusion of disco and hip hop dance moves. It is amazing. The song finishes and Napoleon runs off, leaving an empty stage. Beat. The audience erupts in applause. That was amazing, Curtis. Interior offstage room day. Pedro stands smiling. Interior, high school auditorium day. Don, Summer, and Trisha sit in the audience, stunned and motionless. Deb sits further down and she smiles broadly, clapping furiously. Exterior, Main Street day. Napoleon walks down the street by himself. Music plays. Exterior, bus station day. Kip and LaFonda stand at the bus station. Kip is carrying 2 suitcases. A bus pulls up. The destination card reads Detroit. Napoleon stands across the street and sees them. Kip and LaFonda step onto the bus. Napoleon looks on. The bus pulls away. Exterior Airstream day. The bus wipes past to reveal Uncle Rico standing in front of the Airstream trailer, throwing a football with his left arm. His right arm is in a sling. He struggles to throw a football toward a video camera on a tripod. He squints in frustration, lets out a sigh, and notices something out in the distance. A pretty lady rides a bike toward him on a dirt road. He goes for the football. She gets closer. He winds up and waits. She looks over at him from the bike. He throws the football as tough as he can. A bike tire skids to a stop. Uncle Rico turns to her. She glances back.
Want to see my video?
Exterior park day. A white cake reads in frosting, Presidente Pedro. Felicidades. A piece is pulled out. Pedro stands behind a picnic table full of food. He is surrounded by family members. Todos 1 and 2. They all eat cake and pat him on the back. He brings a big piece of cake up to his mouth and bites it. Exterior Napoleon's house day. Tina the llama eats the food from a hand. Oh my God, she ate it. Grandma stands on the other side of the fence, feeding and petting her. Oh, Grandma. Exterior high school basketball court day. Napoleon is alone playing tetherball. His Walkman and tin-foiled fish are on the ground. Deb walks up. Napoleon stops. They look at each other.
Gosh, you delicious bass.
Deb smiles at Napoleon.
Want to play me?
Deb smiles at Napoleon. Napoleon swings to the tetherball. They play tetherball as the camera slowly zooms out. Fade out. The end.
All right. Thank you all for watching, and thank you to my lovely cast for really getting into their characters. This is a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll see you at the next reading. Take care, everybody.